Andrew Carnegie, From Steel to Soul, The Story of a Titan. In the smoky heart of America's Gilded Age rose a man whose name became synonymous with both unimaginable wealth and generous giving. Andrew Carnegie. Born into poverty in Scotland, he would die one of the richest men in the world, and one of the greatest philanthropists history has ever known. But the journey from threadbare tenement to steel empire wasn't just a tale of industrial ambition. It was also a complicated story of moral reckoning, labor battles, ruthless strategy, and, eventually, redemption. This is the story of Andrew Carnegie, the steel magnate who helped build modern America, and tried to give it all back. The wee lad from Dunfermline. Andrew Carnegie was born in 1835 in Dunfermline, Scotland. His father, William Carnegie, was a handloom weaver, an artisan whose trade was slowly being destroyed by the machines of the Industrial Revolution. When the weaving work dried up, the Carnegies made a choice that would change the world. They emigrated to America. The family settled in Allegheny, Pennsylvania, just across the river from Pittsburgh. Young Andrew, barely 13 years old, took work as a bobbin boy in a textile mill, earning $1.20 a week for 12-hour days. But he had something special. A hunger for knowledge, and ambition that burned like the furnaces he'd one day command. Telegraph boy to railroad prodigy. Carnegie's big break came when he landed a job as a telegraph messenger boy. He taught himself to decipher messages by ear, a rare and valuable skill. His talent caught the eye of Thomas A. Scott, a powerful executive at the Pennsylvania Railroad. Under Scott's wing, Carnegie rose fast. By age 24, he was the superintendent of the Pittsburgh division. He invested early, in railroads, bridges, and oil. But it was steel that would define him. Building the empire. In the 1870s, Carnegie saw the future in steel. America was booming. Railroads were crisscrossing the country, skyscrapers rising from city streets. Steel was the backbone of it all. Carnegie built his first steel plant, the Edgar Thomson Works, in 1875. It was state-of-the-art, using the Bessemer process to mass-produce high-quality steel at low cost. Carnegie Steel soon became the largest and most profitable industrial enterprise of its kind. It wasn't just steel, it was strategy. Carnegie vertically integrated his empire, controlling everything from raw materials to distribution. But the success came at a price. The shadow of Homestead. In 1892, the darker side of Carnegie's legacy emerged in the town of Homestead, Pennsylvania. When the workers at the Homestead Steel Works went on strike, demanding fair wages and conditions, Carnegie was conveniently abroad. He left the tough decisions to his partner, Henry Clay Frick. Frick hired Pinkerton agents to break the strike. What followed was a violent clash, dozens were injured, and several killed. It was one of the bloodiest labor disputes in American history. Though Carnegie claimed he was unaware of the details, his name was forever stained in the eyes of the labor movement. Selling it all. By 1901, Carnegie was ready to step away from business. That year, he sold Carnegie Steel to financier J.P. Morgan for $480 million, an astronomical sum at the time. Morgan folded it into a new conglomerate, U.S. Steel. Carnegie was now the richest man in the world. But he had a mission. He believed, fervently, that the rich had a moral obligation to give away their fortunes for the greater good. His 1889 essay, The Gospel of Wealth, laid out this philosophy: the man who dies rich dies disgraced. And so began the second, and perhaps more important, act of his life. Philanthropy on a grand scale. Carnegie gave away more than 90% of his wealth, roughly $350 million in his lifetime. He built over 2,500 public libraries across the world, believing that access to knowledge was the key to lifting people out of poverty. He endowed Carnegie Mellon University, the Carnegie Institution for Science, and the Carnegie Hero Fund. He created pensions for teachers and scholarships for students. He funded peace initiatives and built the Peace Palace in The Hague. In his mind, wealth was to be earned with intensity, but spent with humanity. The legacy of a contradiction. Andrew Carnegie died in 1919, at the age of 83. He lived long enough to see his steel, his libraries, his ideas reshape a country. But his legacy is not simple. He was both a ruthless capitalist and a visionary philanthropist. A man who crushed unions, and who gave poor boys a path to learning. He built America's industrial might, and spent his twilight years trying to heal its social fractures. Today, his name adorns institutions of knowledge and peace, even as his role in labor suppression is debated by historians. Carnegie, in many ways, embodied the contradictions of the Gilded Age itself. Andrew Carnegie once said, "Aim for the highest." And aim he did. From the cramped alleyways of Scotland to the heights of American industry, his was a life of towering ambition, and, in the end, conscience. He gave the world steel, and then tried to give it wisdom. In an age of titans, Carnegie remains one of the most unforgettable.